Welcome to Branding Made Simple. This is the place where we really try to decode what it takes to build a brand that works.
If you're just tuning in, our whole goal here is to cut through all that, branding jargon. We want to give you clear, actionable strategies, things you can actually use.
Right. And today, we're tackling something pretty fundamental, I think. A belief that holds a lot of businesses back. It's this idea that you need more money for better branding. So our focus is, you don't need a bigger budget. You need a smarter brand strategy.
Yeah, and it really boils down to this, doesn't it? The best brands don't spend the most, they think the smartest. And that's not just like a cute phrase, it's a real shift in how you should approach things.
Absolutely. And this is so relevant. If you're running a small business, maybe you're a solo founder pouring everything into your venture, or you're part of a marketing team that's always, being asked to stretch that budget.
Doing more with less, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So the main idea we're digging into is that your success isn't really about how deep your pockets are. It's about how strategically you use the resources you actually have. Okay, let's get into it.
Let's start with that myth, the common idea that just spending more on ads automatically equals a stronger brand.
Right. That feels intuitive almost. More ads, more eyeballs, better brand. But does it actually work like that?
Well, what's interesting is, throwing money at ads might get you noticed for a bit. Temporary spike, maybe?
Okay.
But it often doesn't build that lasting connection. That's what really defines a brand, isn't it? Think of it like shouting really loud gets attention, sure, but it doesn't make people want to stick around and actually listen.
That's a great way to put it. So if it's not just about shouting, what are those core things that build the real connection? And do they need big budget?
Well, not really. I mean, branding, at its heart, it's about consistency, right? Showing up the same way with the same message every single time someone interacts with you.
Okay, consistency. What else?
It's definitely about forging an emotional connection, making your audience feel something when they encounter your brand, and clear positioning, knowing exactly who you are, what you offer, and who it's for, and telling that story clearly.
And none of that inherently costs a fortune.
Exactly. These are foundational things. They require thought, clarity, effort, but not necessarily massive budgets.
It makes me think about the cafe scene here in Dubai. You see these amazing local spots, right? Not the huge global chains with endless marketing cash.
Yeah, loads of them.
And they have incredibly loyal followings. They've built that purely through, it seems, really smart branding, especially on places like Instagram.
Yeah, and if you look closely at what those successful local cafes are doing, it's quite specific. Often they use things like short, really high-quality reels. They capture the vibe, the product really quickly.
And it's not just pretty pictures, is it?
Yeah.
There's often real storytelling involved. You feel like you get a peek behind the curtain. You connect with the people.
Totally. Relatable storytelling. Plus, so many nail down a unique position. Maybe they're the only vegan place in the area, or known for, amazing latte art everyone wants to snap a picture of.
Right, that's shareable stuff.
And that just shows their strength, They understand their audience deeply, and they talk to them in a way that connects visually, emotionally, and consistently.
It's not about outspending, it's about outthinking, really.
That's it. That's smart brand strategy right there. So, okay. If a big budget isn't the secret sauce, what are some practical, low-cost things businesses can actually do?
Yes, let's get practical. What are some budget-friendly moves that still pack a punch for branding? Where's a good place to start?
Well, something that sounds simple but is super effective and often overlooked is just using a content calendar. Seriously.
A content calendar. Okay, sounds organized. But how does it help with branding specifically, beyond just, scheduling posts?
It's all about that consistency we mentioned. Planning ahead means you're not scrambling last minute. You avoid those awkward silences online.
Right, keeps the momentum going.
And what makes it really strategic is choosing monthly themes. This gives you focus, makes content creation less overwhelming. Then the key is repurposing. Take that core theme, that core content, and spin it out across different platforms. Maximize its impact without starting from zero every time.
Ah, that's smart. Working smarter, not just harder on content. And speaking of smarter work, tech tools have really changed the game, haven't they?
Oh, massively. Leveraging AI tools, even simple ones, can be a huge help for branding on a budget. You've got things like Canva for design, makes anyone look like a pro, almost.
Yeah, Canva's great.
Then there's CapCut for video editing, super easy to use. And even something like ChatGPT can be, incredibly useful for drafting captions, brainstorming ideas, even refining your brand voice.
And a lot of these have free or really affordable options, right?
Exactly. They're super accessible, saves time, saves money. It levels the playing field a bit.
Okay, tools are one thing. What about people? Collaborations. Does that always mean big bucks for influencers?
Not at all. Especially here in the UAE, there's a lot of power in smaller, more niche communities online. That's where nano or micro influencers come in.
Define those for us. What sort of size are we talking?
Typically someone with maybe 1,000 to 10,000 followers. So not huge numbers, but often a very engaged, very specific audience.
Because it feels more authentic, maybe?
Right.
Less like a giant billboard ad.
Precisely. There's often a higher level of trust. And these influencers might be open to different kinds of collaborations, not just big cash payments. Maybe it's a product trade or a smaller, really targeted project.
So the ROI could actually be higher than with a macro influencer sometime.
Potentially, yeah. Especially if they're perfectly aligned with your brand values and their audience is exactly who you want to reach. It's about that quality of connection, not just quantity of followers.
So it really comes back to that idea that small strategic steps add up. They accumulate over time to make a big difference.
That's the core of it.
Now, what if a business feels they need a bit more help pulling these strategies together, but they still don't have a massive budget? Are there local agencies or resources that understand that?
Yeah, absolutely. Here in the UAE, there are definitely agencies, like .it and several others, who really specialize in working with SMEs. They get the challenges.
And they help build that brand foundation without expecting you to spend like a multinational corporation from day one.
Exactly. Their approach is often much more collaborative. They might offer workshops to help you nail down your brand identity or strategy sessions to plot things out.
More like a partnership, less like just buying a campaign.
Right. They offer content packages scaled to where you are right now rather than pushing these huge, expensive campaigns that might not even be right for you yet.
That sounds much more practical.
Yeah.
Any specific examples of agencies doing this kind of work well locally?
Well, you could look at a group like Kaifko Media Group. Their whole thing is blending smart strategy with really creative work. And they do a lot with startups and brands that are scaling up.
What's their focus?
It's about helping businesses really find and articulate their unique voice, then creating content that actually connects and figuring out the smartest ways to get that content seen by the right people.
So when you're looking for that kind of agency partner, what's the key thing to look for? It's not just the slick presentation.
Definitely not. The best partner isn't always the one with the fanciest deck. It's the one who actually listens, who gets your goals, understands your audience, respects your budget, and then helps you hit those targets precisely. It's about finding the right fit.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've covered the mindset shift, some broader strategies, some resources. Let's nail down some super actionable tips, things our listeners can literally start doing, like today. What's tip number one?
First thing, define your brand pillars.
Brand pillars. Okay, what does that mean in simple terms?
Think of them as, say, 3 or 4 core themes. These are the absolute essence of your brand. Your personality, your values, what you stand for. Everything you communicate, every post, every email, every interaction should somehow link back to one of these pillars. It gives you that solid, consistent foundation.
Right, like a filter for all your communications.
Yeah.
Keeps you on track. Got it. What's tactical tip number 2?
Choose a monthly theme for your content.
We touched on this with the content calendar. Why is this so powerful tactically?
It just brings so much focus. It stops you from jumping all over the place. So maybe January is all about foundations, your origin story, your mission. February could be trust testimonials behind the scenes, maybe case studies. March could be value, highlighting customer benefits.
I can see how that creates a mini narrative each month. Makes planning way easier too, I bet.
Absolutely. And it feels more cohesive for your audience.
Okay, makes sense. And the final tactical tip for today.
Repurpose your content, really repurpose it extensively.
Don't just post it once and forget it.
Exactly. You put effort into creating something good, make it work harder for you. Take a blog post, turn key points into an Instagram carousel. Take a long video, chop it into multiple short reels. Pull the audio from something, make a podcast clip.
Squeeze every bit of value out of it across different channels.
Yes. Maximize its utility. That's pure resourcefulness.
Which brings us right back to where we started, doesn't it? A smart brand strategy is about optimizing what you have, being clever with your resources.
That's exactly it.
Okay, well, that feels like a good place to wrap up this discussion on branding made simple.
Yeah, and just to quickly recap the main takeaways for you, remember, Big budgets, not essential for great branding. What really matters is having a clear, smart strategy and executing it well.
Right.
Using the tools available, making smart partnerships, and just being relentlessly consistent. That's how you win, even with limited funds.
And maybe a final thought to leave everyone with. Your brand's actual impact isn't really decided by your budget size. It's defined by your clarity, by your consistency, and by the real connection you build with your audience.
Well said. And next time on Branding Made Simple, we're going to dive into something really powerful, the art of storytelling, how it helps turn that initial attention into real, lasting brand loyalty.
Ooh, looking forward to that. So if you found today's discussion useful, please do subscribe, maybe share Branding Made Simple with others who are trying to build their brand the smart way.
And just to note that this discussion was brought to you by Kaifko Media Group. They focus on empowering brands right here in the UAE and beyond through strategy, storytelling, and helping them scale effectively.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Branding Made Simple. We'll catch you on the next one.